Utah visits the surprise team of the year for me anyway, Oregon State Beavers. They're undefeated so far. They have a very good pedigree. Beat Wisconsin the first week out. Since then, they beat UCLA, Arizona, Wash State, BYU, beat BYU with a backup quarterback. This is my best bet of the week. I like Oregon State. I don't like to bet a lot of favorites, but I think in college you can pick your spots. I'm laying 10.5 in this game. As I said, they have a very good pedigree with who they've beaten. Utah started off the season, well, okay. They played Northern Colorado, won that game easily, no surprise. After that, they've been kind of in and out. Jordan Wynn, their longtime quarterback, out for the season. They started a freshman last week, Wilson, who they're going to stick with them, they said. I wasn't too impressed by the numbers, but they actually did cover last week. They scored late against UCLA and only lost by 7. So, Chuck Edel, your thoughts on this game?
You know, it's funny when you say the thing with Wilson quarterback and they're going to stick with him. He didn't really get rave reviews. It's almost like Utah saying, "Hey, we're going to start already. They're 2-4. We're going to
rebuild."
Exactly. We're going to start building for next year because we don't have a lot this year. Meanwhile, Oregon State's undefeated. They could go 6-0 here with a win here. And Cody Vaz against we know that's a
very good
BYU defense. He throws 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's always impressive, and he really killed him. I think you couldn't even Mannion, who took his place, you couldn't expect any better from him. I thought he had a great debut, and Utah now with their 3rd quarterback already this season.
VR, your thoughts on this game?
Simply put, no one adjusted Oregon State after that first win against Wisconsin. They didn't get any credit for that. And I think the betting market still hasn't caught up with this Oregon State team. I'm not seeing too many professional bettors so high on them. I'm not seeing power ratings with this team as high as I think they should be. This is one of those cases where I actually believe the pollsters are correct.
Very rare that you would say that.
More times than not, definitely. I'm going to agree with the odds makers, the bookmakers, because their opinions have to be backed with cash. Because people are betting into their opinions, unlike the pollsters. But there's some times where the pollsters are ahead of the betting market, and you got to check your ego at the door. And with Oregon State, I still don't think the betting markets come around. I think there's still value on them. I agree. I'm on the Oregon State side here.
You know, last week that line went up to BYU 5.5. And I didn't touch the game, but after the game was over, I go, boy, I really missed one there because, like you were saying, it's a good Oregon State team. And you know, BYU, they made them because of the backup quarterback. I know that happened a lot. But Chris, Utah's never really had a good offense, but their defense has always kept them in games. I don't know if their defense is really as good this year as it has been in the past couple of years.
I don't think it has. But by the way, Chuck, last week when it got to 6, anybody following me on Twitter, I tweeted it out. I said it's just an overreaction. You got to take the 6 in this game, and of course, we won. But it wasn't that easy. So this Vaz played pretty good, even though the score was maybe not quite indicative. That it looks like they blew them out. They didn't. It was kind of a tough game. Here's what I'm looking at though right now with a young quarterback. We mentioned the freshman Wilson, not so great last week. Utah only averages 2.9 yards per rush. And Oregon State only gives up 2.8 yards per rush.
Can't run on this
they
team.
are not going to run. That's going to put added pressure on a young quarterback. I think he's in really, really tough. I don't think it's quite to the point. Oregon State, they're not going to let down. They're not that good of a team where they're going to be looking ahead, I don't believe. So I think they're still really focused on this game. And I don't think you'll see a letdown spot. Hate laying 10.5, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, and Oregon State's better than that UCLA defense that Wilson, went against their last week. So, I agree. It's a tough place to play, no question.
Yeah, for sure.
Very tough place to play. They've had a strong home field advantage a long time. And one more thing I want to add, these Oregon State kids are a lot of the kids that couldn't make it to Oregon University. So there's still a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and I don't think they're going to let down at all this season. I think they'll play very tough, and Oregon's going to have their hands full. And they call that the Civil War, by the way. So that's going to be a good game when it comes up. All right, we have talked about it. I am ready to make it official. I'm going with Oregon State minus 10.5 over Utah. You have a freshman quarterback playing against a very, very tough defense. Ordinarily, for a young quarterback, the running game is their best friend. He will not be able to get the running game going. Utah has a very poor running game going against a very strong rush defense for Oregon State. Very friendly confines for the Oregon State Beavers. I'm going to lay the 10.5 in this game for my best bet of the week.
doing. This guy's going to lay double digits as a best bet. I'm paying attention.
Okay,
I know you're a dog guy. You look for the dog first.
I always look dog first. I hate to bet favorites, but sometimes in college. You can't eliminate.
They do
all
okay.
The
favorites cover.
Yeah, they do. They're going to cover about half the games. And I say, really, you should not eliminate half the winners from your card. You shouldn't do that.
That's ridiculous.
Especially in college. I'd much more apt to lay a big number.
Where the parity isn't there like it is in the pros.
Okay. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Chuck Edel. Cal is hosting Stanford, and Chuck's going to give you his best bet of the week when we still stay in the Pac-12. So you're going to see all our videos at pregame.tv. So hopefully we'll give you a couple of winners and a lot of good information along with that.